Imagine a land where a burning sun and endless sand seem to freeze time. Where giant stone faces stare across the desert, as if still guarding something they were told never to let go of. Deep beneath the ground, in the silence of ancient dust, a secret room sat untouched for thousands of years. It was filled with gold, strange symbols, broken statues, and something far more valuable, information that had been waiting to be uncovered. A man named Howard Carter carefully cleared the debris from a hidden staircase in Egypt's Valley of the Kings. Below the surface, through a sealed doorway, he found a room shining with treasures. What he had discovered wasn't just the burial place of a pharaoh. It was the best-preserved royal tomb ever found in Egypt, and it belonged to a young ruler known as King Tut. The world watched in awe as photos and stories of the golden mask, jeweled thrones, carved statues, and mysterious artifacts spread through newspapers and magazines. It looked like a dream. The boy king stood surrounded by splendor, buried in riches beyond imagination. But behind all the shining objects was a trail of odd discoveries, missing items, and quiet whispers. The first strange thing was the tomb itself. It was far smaller and simpler than other royal tombs. Most kings were buried in massive underground chambers with long corridors and detailed decorations. Tutankhamun's tomb looked rushed and unfinished. Some walls were painted in a hurry. Some items didn't even seem like they was his. Experts began to notice that the mask and jewelry looked altered, like they had been made for someone else and changed later. The golden mask, the most famous piece of all, showed signs of having another name scratched out and Tut's name carved over it. The style of the mask and even the pierced ears suggested it was first designed for a woman. Many now believe it was created for Queen Nefertiti, and after Tutankhamun's sudden death, it was reused for his burial. As the investigation deepened, the secrets grew darker. Documented treasures from the tomb started to appear in unexpected places. Museums in the United States and Europe quietly revealed pieces that matched the designs and materials of Tut's artifacts but that had never been listed as part of the official collection. One of Carter's close friends, a scholar named Sir Alan Gardiner, received a golden amulet as a gift. Carter insisted it was not from the tomb, but when experts compared it to known items from the burial site, it was clear the amulet was a perfect match in style and detail. Other pieces were found across the world, broken parts of jewelry reassembled into new items or single beads tucked into private collections. More signs pointed to the secret removal of treasures. Carter had access to the tomb long before the official opening. Some believe he opened and resealed the burial chamber early to move certain objects out before anyone else could see. These discoveries reveal that there is much more to the biblical story than you ever imagined, truths that have been kept secret for centuries, waiting for the right moment to be discovered. And now, as old certainties are put to the test, finding clarity and understanding can completely redefine your faith journey. That's exactly what Forgotten Prophecies, the apocalyptic revelations that can change your future, offers. A path of guidance and wisdom through little explored biblical revelations, pointing to what really awaits us. This ebook delves deep into the prophecies and provides insights into tomorrow. And best of all, it's available for free. Click the link in the first comment and secure yours now before this opportunity is gone. Decades later, a researcher found evidence of tampering with the seal on the door. It looked like someone had carefully lifted the plaster, entered, and then sealed it back up, hiding all signs of entry. Reports also surfaced about the alteration or removal of detailed notes and drawings from the records. Whole sections of inventory went missing. When inquiries arose, a period of silence ensued. Officials knew something was off, but with no proof, nothing could be done. While these mysteries were unfolding, another strange story was rising in the public's imagination, the tale of the pharaoh's curse. Just weeks after the tomb was opened, Lord Carnarvon, the wealthy sponsor of the dig, died unexpectedly. Soon, others connected to the tomb began falling ill or dying suddenly. Stories of a deadly curse spread quickly. People believed that disturbing the tomb had triggered a supernatural revenge. Carter denied the curse, but the rumors wouldn't stop. They added a layer of fear and magic to the discovery. Some believe Carter allowed the story to grow so he could avoid tough questions. The idea of a curse was powerful. It distracted the public from asking why certain artifacts were missing or why the tomb seemed disturbed before anyone had arrived. Even today, some of the most valuable treasures from King Tut's tomb are unaccounted for. Museums have returned pieces quietly and without headlines. Researchers have followed leads, matched designs, and traced shipping records. But much remains hidden. The official records were never complete. They broke some items into parts and scattered them across collections. Others may still be in private hands, lost to time. King Tut's tomb was more than just a resting place for a young king. It became a mirror reflecting greed, ambition, mystery, and forgotten truths. Its discovery opened the door not only to a treasure trove of history but also to a long, twisting story about what people will do for fame, power, and fortune. The tomb didn't just hold gold and jewels. It held messages, some written in hieroglyphs, others buried in silence. Pieces were rearranged, names were changed, and records were blurred. But the past has a way of speaking, even when voices try to silence it. In November 1922, deep inside the Valley of the Kings, Howard Carter stood before a sealed stone door. Behind that wall was something no one had seen in over 3,000 years. The moment the chamber was opened, the modern world changed. Cameras flashed. Headlines screamed. The golden death mask of Tutankhamun became the face of ancient Egypt for the next century. Remember, the ebook that reveals even more about these little-known prophecies is still available for download. But act quickly, only a few copies remain. Don't miss out on the chance to discover what could revolutionize your understanding of the future. But as the dust settled, stories started circling. Not just about gold and glory, but about death. The people who disturbed the tomb were dying. Some called it coincidence. Others said it was a curse. And when Lord Carnarvon, the man who funded the dig, died just 5 months later, on April 5, 1923, the fear exploded. A mosquito had bitten him. The wound got infected. He developed blood poisoning and pneumonia. His sudden death became the first puzzle piece in a much larger and darker tale. That same year, newspapers began printing the words, "The Curse of the Pharaoh." The idea captured imaginations around the world. People said that anyone who dared enter the sacred tomb of a king would suffer terrifying consequences. For many, the tale became more than just a superstition. By 1929, nearly a dozen individuals linked to the tomb's opening had died, some from illness, others under unclear circumstances. It felt like something was reaching out from beyond the grave, hunting down those who had crossed the forbidden line. Among the deaths was George J. Gould, a wealthy American visitor who fell sick after touring the site. Then came Archibald Douglas Reed, a radiologist who took X-rays of the mummy and died shortly after. Even Carter's assistant, Arthur Mace, collapsed and never recovered. The pattern created panic. Tourists canceled trips. Locals refused to go near the area. The myth became larger than the truth. The average lifespan of the people who had entered the tomb was over 20 years. Carter himself lived until 1939, dying peacefully at the age of 64, nearly 2 decades after the discovery. Lord Carnarvon's daughter survived until the 1980s. The numbers didn't match the myth. Yet people held on to it. This is due to the power of fear, particularly the fear of things we cannot see or understand. And in some ways, Carter may have used that fear to his advantage. Don't forget that the gateway to these life-changing revelations is just a click away. Secure your copy of the ebook. Forgotten Prophecies, the apocalyptic revelations that can change your future. Now before it's too late. They are limited. Reports from the time suggest that Carter didn't just tolerate the myth, he helped it grow. The tomb had become too popular. Reporters, tourists, and curiosity seekers swarmed the area. The idea of a deadly curse served as a warning. It gave Carter and his team the space they needed, or wanted, to work, without too many eyes watching too closely. Suspicious activity inside the tomb had begun to surface. Seals that were meant to be untouched were found tampered with. The outer chamber had signs that someone had entered and resealed it before the official opening. Years later, a man named Alfred Lucas, who worked with him on the tomb's conservation, revealed in 1947 that Carter had likely opened the burial chamber alone, before anyone else arrived, and resealed it to make it appear undisturbed. In 1934, a letter surfaced where Sir Alan Gardiner, a close friend and linguist, thanked Carter for a particular amulet he had received. Carter claimed it wasn't from the tomb, but tests later proved it matched other items from King Tut's collection. The amulet wasn't just a trinket. It was a stolen artifact. Evidence suggested he followed a quiet rule of 10 for the museum, 1 for me. Precious objects had been removed and scattered. In later decades, museums in Missouri, New York, and St. Louis confirmed possession of items that appeared to match photographs and records from the original tomb inventory. Some items had undergone modifications. A beaded collar was broken and then reassembled. A headdress reshaped into a necklace. They were all removed from their original context, and from the Egyptian people. The fear around the tomb may have started with a curse. But the real danger wasn't magical. Beneath the golden shine of Tutankhamun's burial mask and the glowing reports of his tomb's discovery lies something far more complex. It is not just a historic find, it is a riddle wrapped in silence, suspicion, and scattered truth. When the official version of history doesn't explain the details, shadows begin to grow, and with them, theories that refuse to die. The evidence that the tomb was accessed before its unveiling was puzzling. The outer seal, thought to be untouched since ancient times, showed signs of being lifted and reattached. The operation wasn't the work of robbers from the past. It was clean, controlled, precise, suggesting someone with knowledge and motive had slipped in early. Don't miss out on the opportunity to secure your free ebook, packed with never-before-seen revelations. Act now. There are only a few copies left to uncover the mysteries that await you. This possibility points to Howard Carter himself, the man praised as the discoverer of King Tut's tomb. A quiet admission decades later from Alfred Lucas, a scientific analyst on Carter's team, stated that he likely entered the burial chamber before it was officially opened. If true, this act changed the timeline of events and raised serious questions about what might have been moved, taken, or hidden in those early hours. Items known to be inside the tomb in 1922 slowly began to appear in distant museums and private collections over the years. They were not listed in official Egyptian records. Some were broken apart, beads, pendants, collars, then reassembled into new forms. Others were gifted quietly, with little mention of their origins. One such item, a decorative amulet, had been sent by Carter to a colleague. Initially, Carter described it as an unrelated object. Later analysis confirmed it matched designs and materials found in Tutankhamun's tomb. The mistake wasn't a one-time oversight. It was part of a pattern. Other objects followed. Pieces appeared at the Nelson Atkins Museum in Missouri, where part of a necklace included fragments that matched missing items from the tomb. A glazed ceramic collar ended up at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. Even the St. Louis Art Museum acknowledged beads in their collection originated from the boy king's burial. These weren't accidents. They were fragments of a bigger picture, one where the original collection had been dismantled, shipped out, and covered up. In Egypt, officials began to suspect him of wrongdoing. However, the lack of solid evidence at the time hindered action. By the time patterns became clear, the damage was irreversible. Some of the stolen artifacts were sold. Others were passed between private hands, lost in basements or vaults. Unknowingly acquired museums now faced the pressure to return the items they had long since taken. Beyond thefts, there was something even stranger, something encoded in objects, not documents or letters. The golden mask, long considered the most sacred symbol of the tomb, held a hidden surprise. In 2015, researchers confirmed that the faceplate had been altered. Beneath Tutankhamun's name, there were traces of another identity. After Tut's death, he likely modified the mask for a different royal figure, possibly Queen Nefertiti. This revelation triggered a cascade of new theories. Historians examined other artifacts. The wall decorations lacked precision. The design of the tomb didn't match those of other pharaohs. It was almost as if the burial had been arranged in a hurry, as if Tut's death came too soon and his resting place had been borrowed. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. Theories began forming around his successor, Pharaoh I. As Tut's advisor, I had the power to rewrite history. Some now hold the belief that Tut's intended burial was in a more elaborate tomb elsewhere. But after his sudden death, I may have redirected the burial to a smaller site and kept the grander tomb for himself. In that version of history, Tutankhamun becomes more than a lost king. The leaders who followed erased him, only remembering him because they forgot his tomb. Tutankhamun's tomb, though smaller than most royal burials, is no exception. It may lack size, but it offers something far more valuable: clues. It provides hints of how the Egyptians achieved such lasting precision with limited resources, simple tools, and sheer human effort. The artifacts found inside the tomb show astonishing craftsmanship. From the golden mask with its perfectly symmetrical face to the intricate jewelry inlaid with lapis lazuli, turquoise, and carnelian, the level of detail reflects a mastery of fine materials. Each object had to be shaped, polished, and assembled without modern machinery. Gold was hammered by hand into thin sheets. Semi-precious stones were cut and set using tools made of copper and stone. But their ingenuity didn't stop at art. They also developed architectural methods that allowed them to move enormous stone blocks, align structures with celestial bodies, and control airflow and temperature, all without machines. The construction of the pyramids serves as one of the best examples of this skill. Though Tutankhamun was not buried in a pyramid, his story is tied to the broader Egyptian legacy, and understanding pyramid construction helps uncover the methods used across their burial traditions. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built more than 1,000 years before Tut's birth, contains over 2 million limestone blocks, many weighing between 2 and 15 tons. The techniques used to lift and position these stones remain debated, but discoveries of massive ramps, sleds, and carefully angled pathways suggest the Egyptians had developed systems of moving heavy materials through controlled friction and physics, combined with thousands of organized workers. The precision of these builds is stunning. The Great Pyramid, for instance, is aligned almost perfectly with the 4 cardinal directions. That kind of accuracy would be difficult even with today's GPS technology. Ancient builders used the stars, especially the constellations around the North Star, to guide their measurements. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Shadow tracking, rope stretching, and alignment with the horizon were tools just as important as chisels and hammers. Inside his tomb, more evidence of technological expertise surfaces. His golden mask wasn't made from pure 24-karat gold. In 2007, scientists conducted new X-ray scans that revealed something more complex. The metal was an alloy, gold mixed with copper to improve its workability. This subtle change made the mask more durable and easier to shape. The mask's beard was affixed using a tube of gold built into the structure, proving the careful planning behind its construction. In another part of the tomb, archaeologists found wooden chariots so finely balanced and lightweight that they suggest a detailed understanding of mechanics. The wheels were perfectly round, the axles smooth. These weren't ceremonial showpieces. Their design prioritized functionality. Similar chariots were used in battle and transport, and their design reveals an early grasp of engineering principles. The ancient Egyptians didn't just build with stone. They worked with light. Many of their temples were aligned so that sunlight would pass through columns and doorways at specific times of the year, often to highlight a statue or altar. Such an arrangement wasn't accidental. It required tracking the sun's movement, understanding its seasonal path, and designing structures to respond to it. After the 1922 discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, the world was captivated by its treasures, but beneath the surface, a darker story unfolded. Over time, key artifacts mysteriously vanished and reappeared in museums and private hands worldwide. Evidence revealed the silent removal of many items, some of which occurred even before the tomb's official opening. Tut's fame grew, but his true history was fractured. Researchers discovered that another figure, possibly Queen Nefertiti, had repurposed his burial mask, once a symbol of royal power. Technology revealed design anomalies and missing inscriptions, suggesting a rushed burial and possible manipulation of his legacy. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.